Welcome,
Welcome.
Housewives of True Crime,
Hi.
December edition,
I
December
know. Good morning.
2024. Good
Yeah, I
morning.
just went to a Christmas tree lighting last night.
I did too.
You did?
Yeah, I did. It was fabulous and it was warm. And then all of a sudden, Texas turned cold. By the way, I just want to put a little disclaimer because we have some new listeners here. We talk about 7 minutes of chat and then we go into a crime. So if you want to just fast forward at this point, you don't care about us watching Christmas trees, then you can do that. But if not, listen, it's cold as balls here now.
Yeah, I feel like our husbands would like a fast forward button. I don't feel like he listens to anything I say.
No, my husband just fast forwards in my conversation in life.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, what? I have to pick up who today? I'm like, yeah, we talked about it, dude.
Yeah, we did. We did definitely talk about it.
Yeah.
You were not listening with I say listen with your ears a lot.
And not your eyes.
I don't know what. Yeah. He actually is in Las Vegas right now. He went with friends, and by friends, he doesn't really have any. He has my friends' husbands.
Oh my gosh. They're on like a guy's trip?
They went to the Raider game. He's off doing that. I heard from him once, and he said that he was up playing the craps all night, and he was up. And then he said, and then you know how it goes.
Oh, no, it does not go, Jeremiah. You squirrel the money. That's how I play. I play.
Know. I am hoping, listen, he likes to be like, just like for this trip, he has been away working and he was like, guys, I don't think I'm going to make it. And then what does he do? Swoop in there last minute. Surprise.
That's how I am.
I'm hoping he's planning a swoop. I'm hoping he hit it big. And he's going to buy me a real pretty Christmas present.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So that's
damn it.
You and I both have these like dreams. I usually get them to come true because my husband likes buying gifts, which is also a problem because he likes getting gifts and I'm the worst gift giver. So
totally,
it really, I mean, I have to really try very hard. So yes.
I know what you have planned this year for him, though. You're doing pretty good.
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing pretty weak sauce. I've bought him, last year I bought him cologne, hated it. This year I bought him cologne again, the small bottle, just in case he hates it.
Hey, tell everybody.
I got him some new shirts and a desk calendar with his children's pictures on it. I mean, it's so nice. Generic, like weak.
I know, it's fine.
Weak sauce gift.
Tell everybody what you're doing for your kids because maybe they want to do it for their kids too.
Oh, I'm doing this thing. I feel like people like know about it because when I mentioned it to my friends last night, I got a little bit of an eye roll.
Oh, well, I didn't know about it. So
yeah, I didn't know about it. But we are buying our kids 6 presents. You get them something they want, something they need, something to read, something to do, something to share, and something to wear.
Yeah, fun.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, my girlfriend's doing something and it's like a 4-pack of something. And I said that you were doing 6. She's like, oh, well, maybe I need to know the other 2. Her kids are not super stoked on it.
Yeah, mine either.
But you have some really good gift. Like the wearable thing for her son is a fun wearable. It's not like a sweatshirt.
Yeah. So they kind of think they're getting like shit on this Christmas. Yeah. And it's like, oh no, it's cool. It's way cooler. Just don't act like little brats. Otherwise, I might trade that out and get you underwear.
Oh, yeah, right. Here's your wearable. You should do that. You should be like, here's your wearable. And then be like, just kidding. Here's the one that's real.
Oh my God. Actually, that would be really funny.
Let's do that. And record it.
Yeah.
Record it. Yeah. Record it. I like, so my daughter's birthday is on November 30th. So although it's not, it's a little less than a month from Christmas, it's still in that like whole.
It's kind of balls.
It is balls, and it's always
I'm sure she
Thanksgiving
feels it
weekend.
too. She probably feels like,
she
I
does.
think that they are kind of holding back a little bit because do you blow her mind for Christmas or her birthday?
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
But
Christmas.
for birthdays for all my kids, I have never done like extra because I feel like they have a party and they get all these toys and presents, and so I'm like, I don't really need, like, I'm throwing them the big party. That's their present. And then if I give them a small party, then I will buy them a larger present. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel I feel the same.
Yeah. This year we are going to a rock climbing gym for Kyla for her birthday with a couple of her friends.
Ooh,
and
that's
like
cool.
so her, she's adventurous. So
try not to break anything, Kai.
Oh my god, dude, you better not. By the way, thank you for putting that in the universe.
Jinxing it.
Yeah,
she's
better
so breakable
because that's
okay.
happening today. By the way.
Oh.
Right after this recording. So anyways, should we get into your story of the day?
Sure.
First case of December.
First case of December. Okay, today's case has a holiday season tie-in. So it is appropriate. Yeah. The holidays are happening. Funk Soul Brother right about now. They're happening. Okay. 'Tis the season for Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, and true crime. Tab. Although that's not totally true because I always kind of assumed that the holidays were when crime was at an all-time high. Wouldn't you think that?
I think maybe petty theft, petty crime.
Actually, well, I just read that crime rates are peak along with the weather. The higher the temperature, the more the crime.
No way. Why is that? People are out and about.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, they don't like to be cold and
they
crimey.
Don't. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the weather in Paducah, Kentucky in the last week of December in 1990 was in the low 50s. That's a little too chilly for me.
That is what it is right now at my house, and it is really too cold for me too.
I know. There's people in Minnesota. They're like, we are below zero.
Yeah. No, but sorry.
We're not with it.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that is where Charles and Nelda Chumbler took a trip to Paducah, Kentucky to visit Charles' family over Christmas vacation. It was a much needed break for Charles and Nelda because they hadn't been getting along so well and they were still relatively newlywed. It had been a little over 2 years. This was neither of them's first go around with love. Charles and Nelda got together kind of late in life. Not that late. Nelda was 48 and Charles was 49.
Okay.
It's actually a great time for love when you're at that stage where your children are grown. You still have your health, right?
Right.
You're not like on the AARP list yet. Right? Yeah. So, yeah. So Nelda's first husband, had passed away after a long battle with cancer, and Charles had been married twice previously, and both of his ex-wives would describe their short marriages to Charles as rocky. I will circle back to that, but for now, just know that when Charles was the new teacher at the high school where Nelda worked in Tampa, Florida, Nelda scooped him up. It had been 10 years since Nelda had lost her husband, and here comes charming Charles. He brought in homemade muffins to the teacher's lounge. And I get it, Nelda. Mm-hmm. Carbs are the way to my heart, too. Okay. Charles was new on the Tampa scene because he thought it would be a nice place to make a fresh start in life. Charles was a jackhole of all trades. His employment history.
Did you say a jackhole?
I did. I slid that in there. You're quick.
A jackhole. Okay, I'm seeing
You're
where
not
this
gonna love him by the end of the
I know, I
story.
see where
Thanks
this
for
case is
spoiling
going.
it. Yeah, okay. Well, like I was saying, Charles' employment history included tobacco farming, which was his family's business in Kentucky. He also spent time being a pastor or pastor, however.
It's not El
Whatever.
Pastor.
Yeah. Okay.
Although if they're like jackholes, you should just start calling them pastors. Like,
oh yeah. Okay. He also, and now he had just accepted a job as a temporary English teacher. Nelda was the high school's beloved science teacher. She was just a very sweet, compassionate lady. And so everyone was happy that she had found love again after losing her husband and being single for like a whole decade.
Mm-hmm.
So Nelda and Charles did not waste any time after getting together to tie the knot. And so naturally, after they did, Charles moved in with Nelda. It all started out as marital bliss. And it was just like they say, first comes love, then marriage, and then, yes, the baby carriage.
Stop. At
Yes,
49?
it was a boy. Baby boy was out of the carriage, though. Michael Karyakis drove himself to Nelda and Charles' place and informed them that he was Charles' illegitimate son from the past, and he had decided to find his daddy because he was in a bad way. He was dying of cancer.
Oh.
And his family had turned their backs on him, and he was broke. Well, Nelda, being Nelda, had a real soft spot for the cancer, right?
Yeah.
You know, the previous husband and
But
everything.
are we sure that this guy is a child? Was he like, okay, yeah, that is my kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And they were sure.
Okay.
And embraced the young man. And Charles was just willing to do anything he could to help his long lost son. Charles and Nelda really set up Michael comfortably as possible for what was thought to be his end of life. They paid his bills, got him an apartment, and when I say they, I mostly mean Nelda.
Yeah. Like, what is Charles doing?
Right? Charles didn't have a whole lot of financial security. He was on the brink of bankruptcy when he had made his way to Tampa before moving in with Nelda, but Nelda was doing all right in the financial department.
Yeah.
She had collected the insurance from her late husband. She owned a home. And of course, she had her teacher's salary, you know. Now, that being said, Nelda was not like rolling in dough. And so when Michael's end of life went from months where they were providing for him to years.
Ooh.
It really stressed her out because it was so financially draining. The other part that was a burden on Nelda was that Michael was annoying as fuck. She picked up that he seemed to have an affection for tall tales. You know, he's a fibber. He said he worked as a hitman for the Greek mafia.
What?
Which it turns out was the plot of a daytime soap opera character that Michael was familiar with. No, it's so random. I never think
that's scary.
Mm-hmm. I feel like most hitmen don't go around telling people.
I think that they don't tell anybody.
Right. Yeah. He also said he had been an Army Ranger. You know, so it's not.
I know this type.
I know, we know this type. It's not adding up. Right. And what else was not adding up was that Michael didn't look sick. And like you would expect a cancer patient to look.
Was he going to doctors? Was he telling
He was telling her he was, yeah. And she was paying for the treatments. Remember, 1990. Yeah. Harder to verify.
Right.
But Nelda was real familiar with what cancer looks like, you know, what to expect, because she'd lived through it already. She had begun venting all of these dilemmas about Michael to her coworkers and friends, and the consensus was that Nelda was not tripping. This young man was taking advantage of her.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, after 3 years of this situation, she tells Charles that she can't do it anymore, and that she, for one, is not paying for Michael any longer. Well, Charles did not take that well. He can't believe Nelda would let the young man go without in his dying days. And, it's his son, he says, So Nelda and Charles are not seeing eye to eye. So Charles moves out. It was bad.
If Charles moves out, is Michael still living there?
No, Michael was living in his own apartment that Nelda was paying for. They're
Oh
paying
my
for
God,
him
this
to
is
be living in an
so
apartment.
nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the love affair between Nelda and Charles had only lasted 3 years, and now Nelda was on her own again.
Mm-hmm.
Some weeks passed, and it's that time of year. Chestnuts are burning. Silver bells are ringing.
They're burning. Are you burning them?
I know, I said nuts. We're 12. Yeah. Anyways, the bells are ringing, and so is Charles, Tabitha. Charles rings up Nelda and says, Nelda, this is what I imagine he said. Okay. I have come to my senses. I get it.
My chestnuts are roasting and I need you back.
Mm-hmm. That too. He said that too, okay. I'm sure. Okay. Let's not let Michael get in the way of our love. Let's start over. Let's get away to visit my family in Kentucky for Christmas. Nelda was feeling it and looked forward to spending time with Charles's family in Kentucky. Where his family lived in Paducah was a real cute, really cute small town outside of Nashville. Just a lovely place to spend Christmas. And that's what they did. And Christmas was lovely. They were still visiting Paducah on December 27th when Charles and Nelda took Charles's 4-year-old grandson to feed the horses down the road from the home where they were staying. This is when tragedy struck in the form of a bullet hitting Nelda right through the chest and fatally wounding sweet Nelda.
Oh my gosh. How? He killed her.
He was just feeding the horses. I didn't say anything about him pulling a gun. It just came out of nowhere. When the unexplained shot rang out, Charles told the police that he grabbed his grandson to cover him and then put him in the car and drove him back to the house where he told them to call an ambulance, and then he raced back down to Nelda. Now, this is an area of Kentucky where people do their fair share of hunting. And so it was certainly possible that this was just, a random stranger hunter's stray bullet. But the police are investigating the scene still initially, as though it could have been some kind of foul play, because even what are the chances of a stray bullet, striking a woman right in the ticker?
Right.
Okay.
Not very often does that happen.
Right. So thankfully they proceeded with investigating without presuming it was just an accidental shooting. They questioned the witnesses, which was
a 2-year-old?
Charles and a 4-year-old.
A 4-year-old.
Okay. And there was a disparity in their stories. Charles stated that the shot just came out of nowhere and there was only one shot. Grandson said he was sure there were 2 shots fired. Well, one stray bullet is one thing, but 2 shots looks like it could have been a real intentional shooting. And the two-shot theory made sense because the fence where they had been standing was damaged from what appeared to have been a bullet. So they put the pieces together and did some of the kind of detectiving. There's a lot of good detectiving in this story, by the way, and I enjoy it. They did a string through the bullet hole in the fence to determine the trajectory of the bullet, and they followed it all the way to a lone shed in the distance with a big old crack in it, where they surmised that the shooter had sat and waited for his target. While said shooter waited, they noted he smoked Newport cigarettes.
And
so they
Michael
collected the
smoked
butts.
the Newport cigarettes.
Maybe
he had cancer.
Right. They collected the cigarette butts that they found in the shed. Now they just needed to know who in the heck would want to off Nelda. So they packed their bags for Tampa to talk to people close to her. They spoke with her coworkers and friends, and they all informed them that Nelda was basically a saint. And the only thing she ever vented about was Michael Karyakis. Now, investigators' interests were piqued, and so they set about looking into Michael. It did not take them long to discover that there was already a warrant out for Michael's arrest that involved him burglarizing his mama.
Like his real mom.
His real mom. Yeah, maybe that's why she turned her back on his cancer-stricken ass.
I'm pretty sure.
And probably because, he wasn't really struck by cancer. Okay.
Well, I kind of figured.
So that's alarming. And what was also alarming was that there was a silver Nissan sedan registered to Michael. And coincidentally, after the shooting, a couple of people reported seeing two people on a nearby road trying like hell to get a silver Nissan sedan out of the snow on the side of the road. One of these persons met Michael's description, just like he's like tall, thin, dark hair.
Yeah.
So they get a warrant to search Michael's residence. And they go knocking on the door at the apartment, that Nelda and Charles had spent a couple of years ponying up the rent for. And guess who answers the door?
I would guess it was Michael.
Michael's wife.
What?
Uh-huh. This was interesting because no one had, they had talked to had mentioned that Michael had a wife.
Right.
And as luck would have it, this young woman met the description of the second individual that was seen in the Nissan on the day of the shooting.
Great. She's in on it.
While searching the apartment, they noticed some dadgum Newport cigarettes on the table, which, remember, were, coincidentally the same brand that they found in the shooting shed. Now, cigarettes are stamped in the state in which they are sold, and these were sold in Kentucky. So they ask Mrs. Michael Karyakis, first name Holly, actually, where she and her better half were on December 27th. And she says, well, yes, they were in Kentucky visiting family in a town about 2 hours from Paducah in Clarksville. She also had receipts to show her and Michael had stayed in Clarksville, and they searched the apartment, and it didn't result in them finding the murder weapon. They really just had the cigarette butts, and that's all, and the cigarettes on the table. But they went ahead and arrested Holly, and Michael was located and arrested as well. Upon arrest, there was a business card to a gun store in Tampa that Michael was carrying around, which led them to verify that Michael had recently purchased a high-powered rifle with a scope. So the working theory, I mean, how dumb can you be to carry the business card around where you buy the murder weapon?
Yeah, right.
I mean, okay. Anyways, so the working theory is that Michael and Holly had conspired to kill Nelda, but they need to know the real motivation. So they go back to Kentucky and further question Charles's family in town and ask them if they knew of Michael, Charles's long-lost son, and the strain he had put on Charles and Nelda's new marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone knew Michael. They said Michael was most definitely not Charles's son. They said Michael and Charles had known each other since Michael was 16 and he had worked on the tobacco farm, and they had gotten close as they worked together. Closer than friends close. They were lovers.
Stop. This case is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Now, they said Charles will never admit it, but everybody knew that Charles was obsessed with Michael and would do anything for him. And that's why he was so broke when he moved to Tampa. He had been talking about bankruptcy.
His, boy toy, because he had to have been much younger than Charles, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he passed him off as a son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. So Charles is 49. Michael was 24 when this happened. Actually, Charles might have been 52 and Michael was 24.
Okay. Yikes.
At the time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Charles makes his way to Tampa and he's thinking he has to declare bankruptcy, and he is telling, his family, like, what am I going to do? I've got to, declare bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. And then all of that talk went away when he met and quickly married Nelda.
Right.
Yeah. The family thought that Charles was like turning over a new leaf when he met Nelda.
He wasn't.
Yeah. They really liked her. And they thought that Michael was really out of the picture now. And so they give Charles and Michael's suspected loverness, like, not much thought anymore. So now with the revelation that not only was Michael not Charles's son and that the two of them had been conspiring to con Nelda out of her money, but now they realize that they were lovers, that kind of escalates the con even more. Like, mm-hmm. Charles had planned it from the moment he met Nelda and brought her muffins. He had, been conspiring to kill her all along with Michael. It's very like Dirty John, just trade out the smoothies for muffins.
I like smoothies better.
I know, but I kind of like to know exactly what is put in my smoothie. Like, I don't want to eat any unnecessary carbs.
But you would prefer muffins, which is 100% carbs. So
I know. Yeah, it don't make no. That's why I'm wearing fat pants right now. Yeah.
Ay, girl.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, these con men, they all know, just feed us and tell us we're pretty. It's so basic.
It's so true.
I
you don't even have to feed me. All you need to do is bring me coffee. I mean, my son now, because your son makes coffee for you. Now my son makes coffee for me. And
aren't you just like, I'd do anything for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're my favorite child. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they're all my favorite, but the one that makes me coffee, I just love him in the morning.
Yeah, for sure. He gets a little extra pass. Mm-hmm, yeah,
does.
I know. Okay, well, I too have fallen for a man with a dirty plan, so no judgment, Nelda. Just PSA. Ladies, look out for the ones carrying carbs. Okay? They use them to disarm us. For reals. Investigators need more evidence of the nature of Charles and Michael's relationship, because it's just like hearsay right now, to prove the conspiracy and motive. And as luck would have it, they received a call to look in the yard of Nelda's home, specifically under some pots. So they did that. And they found there were some pots that were on top of what appeared to be freshly overturned soil. So they started digging into it and they came across a box. And in the box was naked pictures of Charles and Michael in a romantic nature. And there were also some dildos.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty good proof. And as long as we're talking about sex toys, I read they found some blow up dolls in the bathroom.
Okay.
That's irrelevant, but I'm not thinking they were Nelda's. And it's sounding like, getting his freak on was a priority to Charles.
Mm-hmm.
So now the last piece of the motivation puzzle is predictably money, right? And Nelda had a life insurance policy that doubled in case of an accident, like stray bullet.
Yeah, I mean, a stray bullet is all it takes.
Right? And of course, Charles is the beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
So Charles was arrested and charged with complicity to commit murder. And Michael's wife, Holly, was charged with complicity to commit murder as well. And Michael was charged with murder. They all pled not guilty and went to trial. It's worth noting that Charles' own family, under the circumstances, usually you would think they would not comment. Mm-hmm. But in this case, they comment a lot about what an asshole he was and how sweet Nelda was. And I think they have some real clarity on that because he used this 4-year-old boy as bait. Put the child's life in danger.
He totally put the child's life in danger.
Definitely traumatized the kid for life.
Forever. Hello.
4-year-old.
His grandma just dies in front of him.
Right in front of him. I mean, what an MFer, right? Yeah. At the trial, evidence was presented that the receipts that Holly had provided to prove that her and Michael had stayed the night of the murder in Clarksville were shown to be bullshit because the motel manager said that they got a room and left without staying there. And then they found the motel down the road from the crime scene that they actually stayed in that night. More damning testimony included a couple of students from the high school that Mr. Chumbler taught at that he had approached, offered them 10% of, Nelda's life insurance if they would kill her for him. He told these students that he hated her. They thought that he was joking at the time. And they came forward after they learned about her death, but wished they would have said something sooner. I feel sorry for them. That's an awful burden.
Yeah.
There was also testimony from Charles's ex-wives, which remember in the beginning I mentioned I would circle back to his previous rocky marriages. Well, wife number 1, who played the piano where Charles was working as a pastor, testified that she was aware of Charles' affection for young men and that there was an incident where he made a deal with one so that he could engage in sex with his wife if Charles could engage with him in sex after. She testified that she wasn't sure if she had been traded or prostituted. Either way, I'm not thinking it's very pastoral. The second wife testified that she believed Charles had just married her in order to get close to her son. Too close. Way too close. Super gross. And that's why her marriage to him did not last. So that's Charles. He's toast. Then there was the testimony about Michael's character. And it turns out he, at the age of 24, was on his third wife. but he hadn't bothered to legally divorce the first two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was committing bigamy while married to Holly, who he had been married to for less than a year. And apparently, this Holly went along with the deranged plan to shoot Nelda for the payday.
For the payday? Like, girl.
It was not even that much money. I mean, I know it was 1990, but it was $70,000.
And how old is this girl?
She was the same age as him. Yeah, she was in her early 20s.
Yeah, come on. That's like ruining your life.
Real cute girl, too.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not that it matters, but you know what? It's like so dumb that she decided to ruin her life like this.
Well, let me tell you, might not have ruined her whole life. Yeah. Charles, Michael, and Holly all testified at the trial. Mm-hmm. And Charles denied having a romantic relationship with Michael. He said it was just a very special friendship. Michael testified that he did not kill Nelda and that he did not know why he checked into 2 motels on December 27th. And he said the rifle he had recently purchased was stolen from his car when he was on his Kentucky trip and checking into 2 motels that he didn't know why he did that. It's so weird
that it just also happened to kill his stepmom. That's not really a stepmom. That is his actual lover's wife.
Yeah. All that.
So weird.
So Holly testified that she didn't know shit either, basically. Like, I cannot even believe that any of them got on the stand. Miraculously, the jury did not believe any of them.
Great.
And they were all found guilty. Charles and Michael were sentenced to 25 years to life, and Holly received a lesser sentence, and you are not going to believe this. In 1995, 5 years after the senseless murder, their convictions were overturned.
No, all of them?
All of them.
Why?
They found that the introduction of the romantic nature of the relationship between Michael and Charles was overly prejudicial. So they were granted new trials. Instead of going to trial again, they all took Alford pleas for reduced sentences.
Alford pleas,
if you don't know what an Alford plea is, it's a guilty plea in which the defendant maintains their innocence but admits that the prosecution's evidence would likely result in a guilty verdict if brought to trial.
Yes, but I am shocked that they even gave them the opportunity for an Alford plea, because I feel like an Alford plea is a way for innocent people to get off, even though they have evidence to support that they could possibly be the murderer.
It's all kind of wacky, right?
Yeah, because these people did it, and I don't like that at all. So they just walked free.
Yeah, okay.
Now what are they doing now?
After the Alford plea was accepted, Holly was released on parole the following year at the age of 32.
Okay.
Charles Chumbler was released in 2003 at the age of 64. He is 86 now, and I believe he's still alive and living in Kentucky. Michael Karyakis was released on parole in 2008 at the age of 49. He would be 65 if he were alive, but I'm pretty sure he died in Kansas in 2021 for reasons unknown to me.
Maybe cancer, because fucker, you cannot be like...
I don't know. No one bothered to pay for an obituary for him that I could find. As for Holly, I think she's still out there, but I'm not sure what she's up to. I think she made some real bad choices at a young age and was lucky enough to get out after a reduced sentence while she was still young. And so I hope she made the most of it. Hopefully
she learned from that one. I don't know if she
Yeah,
was
I
in
mean,
prison
it's
long
interesting,
enough to get
right?
reformed, but yeah, holy moly.
It's like, I think all this talk about the nature of their relationship not being relevant, I think it's real relevant. Everybody knows that dick is a big motivator. It's a motive.
It is. It's a motivator if it is a husband killing a wife and the wife is cheating
Yeah.
or the husband's cheating.
Yeah. There's no like, not trying to shame them for having a romantic relationship. That has nothing to do with it, you know? Yeah, it wouldn't matter if it was a heterosexual relationship either.
Yeah.
You should know. I think the jury should know that there was loverness happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's
Holy
the
moly.
jam. Mm-hmm. Holy moly. And the last name is Chumbler. I mean, I just got to say, that is an interesting last Chumbler.
Chumbler.
Uh-huh.
That is, I've never heard that before.
I know. Yeah, never heard it before. So, interesting.
Yeah. Holy. Wow. Okay, well, rest in peace because, I mean, she's been gone a while, but.
Yes, definitely rest in peace. Man. I mean, the one tragic thing about Nelda is I just found that she was just this real sweet lady. She definitely lived up to her name. She looked like a Nelda. You know?
What is a Nelda?
You know how sometimes you look at back, well, you know, 49 is actually not that much older than us.
Right. But did she look
Sadly.
like she was like 89, 69,
she
79?
Looked 69.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, thank God. We're not pulling in Nelda. Okay.
Well,
my husband tragically dies tomorrow. I'm still going to look hot. Okay. Like,
and you're
no
not
one's
going to
be, I'm hoping no. It's going to take more than muffins. But, yeah, no, I'm going to, you know, have a chance. I think that's why the muffins were like worked for her, because she didn't like keep herself up.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Is that awful? I am an awful person. I hear it a lot lately.
Listen, it's honest. It may be awful, but it's honest. And so, yeah, you know,
yeah,
if I was on the dating scene, I might,
you would do well.
My hair, and I don't know if I'd do well because there's a lot of hot little biscuits out there, and I think the age our husbands aren't looking for us. They're looking for.
Yes, but we know guys that are, you know, older that are dating, and they say, I mean, obviously men are pigs and they all want somebody hot, but they say they don't have anything to talk to these women about.
Yeah, it's true. But I'm telling you, if I, God forbid, had to go on the dating scene again, which I do not, nothing about that.
I don't want to either.
I don't want to do
Depending on what happens when he comes back from Vegas.
I would find myself a Kristen Cavallari type boyfriend.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. At least for 5 minutes, you would have fun with that. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, but other than that, that's it.
I also don't think, you know what? I think there is like no way I would get married again. I just think after you've like had kids and everything, why do you need to get married? Why do you need to lock it down?
Yeah, maybe you don't.
I don't think so.
Lock it down.
I don't think so. I don't need to be committed to life for life. Again, one life sentence is enough for this lifetime.
No, maybe if they're wealthy enough
rich,
to make the marriage
don't be
work.
Shallow, Tab.
I'm just saying, because what happens, like say you have this is like stuff that we talk about on Patreon. So if you really want to know what we talk about on Patreon, you should go there and bonus subscribe. But just listen, like say you meet this really like wealthy man, and he is like, I am going to sweep you off your feet and I'm going to take you traveling the world for the rest of your life.
I would think
and
he was a con man, and I do not want to be part of the lawsuits that are coming his way. 100%. And you think I don't have life insurance on my husband? Like, I'm set up, okay? Well, I don't need this. Listen, I can still go traveling and I can do all of these things with this man without being attached to him on paper.
Listen, you're not listening.
Okay.
Jeremiah didn't die. Okay. He's still
he didn't die.
No. Okay. So you're working on podcast salary. Okay.
Yeah.
And this guy wants to sweep you off your feet. And then he's like, we're going to go, hot trotting around the world, which is great while he's alive. But then suddenly he just kills off. And guess what? You're stuck with a podcast salary and nothing else. Or not even a podcast salary anymore because he took you away from the podcast. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that would be the real tragedy.
I'm like, okay, you need to have some sort of security.
Yeah, okay.
If he wants like a traveling partner.
Yeah,
okay.
Listen, I get why people would get married again. I'm just not one of those people.
Well, you never say never, okay? Like, not that it's ever going to happen, but whatever.
Yeah, we're definitely not telling our husbands that we had this conversation. And if any of you MFers tell my husband we had this conversation, I'm going to send you Cole and I'm not going to make you any more espresso martinis. And you know who I'm talking to.
Yes. Okay. Well, anyhow, if you guys want more of us, we are on Thursdays, every single Thursday. You can find us at Spotify. I think it all is linked now on Spotify. Okay. So I did that this last week. And it's called Housewives True Crime Bonus Content. Takes you to Patreon. You can sign up there, and then it's right in your Spotify feed. If you want to listen through Patreon, we are down with that. Just go to patreon.com/Housewives of True Crime. And if you want to listen on Apple, then you can go to the Clink Clink Club. It's right there when you go to our show page. Also, if you would like to give us a gift this Christmas, we would love for you to tell a friend about us. Tell your sister, tell your cousins, tell your moms, tell your grandma,
your mister, your long lost child, your lover, all of them.
Yes. Tell somebody right now, just grab your phone, and even if it's in your like bunko thread, be like, girls, everybody needs to listen to this today.
Now you're sounding like Nelda. I feel like bunko's an old lady.
Really?
It does sound fun though.
It is fun. Okay. I'm in a bunko group. That's why I say. And also, if you need a Christmas present to give to somebody, a favorite things party, something like that, go to 5 Crimes. It's the best actual favorite things gift you can give. Give the hair serum. Every woman you know needs more hair. Promise you. And if they have a bunch of it, it's probably extensions. So they're going to be even happier that you give them the hair serum. Yeah. It's fivecrimes.com. And I think that's all for today. So clinkety clink. Happy holiday shopping, y'all.
Yeah.
Clink clink.
Clink clink.